Thanks for joining us. I'm Gabe Garrish, owner of Backwoods Pursuit, and today we're going to continue our Sitka layering system review as we look at the Sitka base layer tops, and this is also going to include the midweight and heavyweight layers. So these 7 pieces here, we're going to go over these and what seasons and uses are best combined, which pieces combined have worked best for me as I've tested these out over the last couple of years out in the field, wanting to bring you a real world perspective on what's worked best in what situations. As always, we really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, as follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our website, backwoodsPursuit.com. Lots of gear reviews over there as well. Put links to all that down in the description, as well as a link to all these pieces so you can check them out for yourself if it's something you think you'll be interested in. Let's dive into this. All right, to get started, what pieces do we have here? We've got the Ascent Shirt, the Sitka Ascent Shirt, the Core Lightweight Hoodie, the Core Midweight Zip Tee, the Mountain Vest. This one is the Heavyweight Hoodie, the Apex Hoodie, and then the Traverse Cold Weather Hoodie. So obviously they're all going to be different weights and some different fabrics here. So weights put on these particular pieces, the Ascent Shirt is 4.7 ounces, so super lightweight on the lightest weight side of things. The Core Lightweight Hoodie is 6.6 ounces, and this is all in a size large. All of these are a size large. The Core Midweight Hoodie here comes in at 10 ounces. The Mountain Vest here is 9.1 ounces. The Heavyweight Hoodie is 14.8 ounces, if I'm remembering correctly on that. The Apex is 20 ounces, and the Traverse is 27.1 ounces. And they get warmer, of course, as you go towards the heavier side. So uses on these, there's, of course, a huge number of combinations and uses you can get out of these, but here's what worked for me testing all of these pieces here. Of course, early season, the Ascent is going to be a great piece. It's really, it's just a super lightweight of 4.7 ounces. It's a quarter zip is the way this one comes with 2 pockets here, and it just works really well for warmer weather hunting. Not really something I found myself wanting to layer a bunch with. You certainly can, but it just doesn't provide too much warmth that way. So it's really going to be isolated to your warmer seasons, summer scouting, early archery, that sort of thing. You certainly can throw anything else over the top of it, but really not an insulating piece or a base layer in that regard, like the Core Lightweight Hoodie. This was probably one of my favorite pieces here, and as far as how foundational it is to the layering kit. You got the one chest pocket there, and then I really do like having a hood. It has a face mask built in here as well, and so it's really nice for archery season. But also, I use this really all the way till mid-late October, until temperatures started getting a little bit colder, when I wanted my base layer to be a little bit heavier. It's got the nice the interior that's really super soft and comfortable. It's a knit material on the inside, and it's really a good soft, close to skin or next to skin piece that way. Once temperatures got a little bit colder, I used the Core Midweight as my base layer. Now, earlier on in the season, archery, all the way through, even late October, I would go with the Core Midweight, and then on top of that, the Core Lightweight Hoodie. Then on top of that, the Core Midweight, and then add other pieces as the temperatures started to drop. But one of these 2 were typically my base layer or next to skin layer. Next up is the Mountain Vest. Now this is a piece I didn't always take with me, but this has the Gore-Tex Infinium, and it's a windstop layer. So whether or not you like vests, some people do, some people really don't, but I can really attest to that windstop being an incredible product. Just last weekend I was out hunting here. It's November, or actually December right now, late season, and it was super windy, 30-40 mile an hour winds, and sitting on a ridge, on top of a ridge, the wind was just whipping, and my pants did not have the Infinium, and my jacket did. The Jetstream jacket is what I was wearing, and there was a marked difference between the way that the Infinium cuts the wind. I was really impressed with that. So the way that this Mountain Vest is going to fit into this combination here, anytime you want just a little bit extra warm, it's 9.1 ounces again, so it's not real heavy, and it does pack down fairly small, so you can always throw it in your pack. But if you're expecting any kind of wind, just want to make sure that you're protected that way. It's a good way to add a little bit of warmth, but also really cut down the wind, because that wind can just cut right through you, and it makes a really big difference that way. So sometimes I'd throw the Mountain Vest over the top of these 2, but it can also go over over top of the Apex or the heavyweight, depending on how you want to do that. And it's cut to where it's going to be fairly snug on you, but it's good that way. And again, I've got videos on each of these individually with more details on the materials and the cut and the fit on everything. Keep this video from getting too long, so I won't go into all that, but check all those videos out on the channel here, and it'll get some more details on everything about these. But this video I wanted to stick with what worked in what situations for me. Moving up to the heavyweight hoodie here, this is an awesome piece. I really loved this piece. It's a grid fleece on the interior here, and it's a heavyweight grid fleece, whereas the midweight is a micro grid fleece, so not quite as warm, of course. But these, if you're familiar with grid fleece materials, they're just super lightweight and warm for their weight, and this heavyweight hoodie is no different. One other thing I forgot to mention, on all these have the Polygiene built into them. It's odor control. I don't believe the Mountain Vest does, but the other pieces do. And it's incredible. It works really well. In fact, for me, it worked better than merino even. I took particularly these lighter weight pieces out in early season when it tends to be hot and you're sweating more. Hunted for up to 7 days straight without washing, without any odor issues. With merino, I've had day 4 or 5 you start having some of that the odor issue. So really impressed with the Polygiene on all these pieces as well. And I found, just to go back to the core lightweight hoodie and the midweight here, I found the core lightweight hoodie, man, it just really vented really well. Same with the Ascent for your early season hunts. Didn't overheat. And I found it to be even a little bit cooler than merino. Was really impressed with those pieces. Forgot to mention that over there. So back to the heavyweight hoodie here. That grid fleece again, one pocket here. This is the type of piece that is going to go over one or more of these other these pieces. So I typically would go with the core lightweight, then midweight, and then potentially the vest if there's going to be wind. But a lot of times I'd skip out that and go right to the heavyweight if I was going to be needing something to throw on once I sat down to glass early season or later season. This is an awesome layering piece because it is very warm. Now keep in mind, this is not going to breathe very well. So if you're doing a lot of hiking, you may want to go with the Apex. We'll cover here in a second. But the heavyweight hoodie, being that grid fleece, it is warm for its weight. It's about 5 ounces, a little over 5 ounces lighter than the Apex, but it doesn't breathe as well. That grid fleece is not going to be a high activity type of a piece, whereas the Apex has that merino, which is more designed for high activity. So the pros and cons to this is the weight to warmth ratio is really good compared to the Apex, but not as good in that high activity type of situation. But does better in wind than merino as well. The fleece hoodie here, the heavyweight rather than the Apex. The Apex being merino is you're going to feel effects of wind a lot more. So fairly compact piece, not too bad that way, but really one of the pieces I loved. It's just super warm. Now over to the Apex here. This is your hoodie that is designed for the bow hunter, the archery hunter. You've got a merino and nylon blend here. Merino in a lot of the body and the nylon in some of your high wear areas. And again, I go into a lot more details on this specific piece in an individual video on this, so I won't go into too much of that, but you do have a face mask here, a hood, which is awesome, and then you have a real unique pocket in the front here. So it's just a zipper across the front, and then you've got some pockets for items and that sort of thing. So depending on what kind of hunting you're doing, it may or may not be useful. I found that if you're doing a lot of active hunting in the sense of hiking and you have your bino harness and your pack, that pocket is kind of in a place where you're not going to be able to use it. But if you're going to hike to a tree stand or something like that, it's going to be useful that way. So it may be useful in some areas and some not, but it is kind of a cool design. You've got the nylon on the back of the elbows here and the high wear areas, so it's going to maintain its durability. And again, this is a little bit heavier though. It's very warm, or similarly warm to the heavyweight hoodie, maybe not quite as warm, but very similar. But it's got that merino, which is going to breathe better, so it's better for your active style of hunting. But a little bit heavier because of that merino. So it kind of depends on what you need and what you like, but it's a great piece also. I really like the Apex. Now finally over to the Traverse cold weather hoodie. This is their heavyweight piece, and it's built as a jacket. It's got a full zipper there, so you can use this as either a layering piece or an outer layer. It is DWR treated, so you can shed a little bit of light rain. Certainly not going to be a rain jacket of any sorts for you, but it can do pretty well that way. And it's got a built-in face mask, which is real nice, and a hood, especially nice in those late season hunts. So how I use this and really found this to be a really nice piece is when temperatures really get cold, you know, single digits, teens, that sort of thing, and you can throw this on over a couple base layers, and then have a puffy even over the top of this. Sometimes they got cold enough to need that, but then, you know, take that puffy off or whatnot. So it kind of depends on, are you going to need to have a lightweight type of a piece? In that case, you're going to want to go with a puffy like the Aerolite. If not, if that's not as important and space is not at a premium, weight's not at a premium, if you're not backpacking, then this can be a really nice piece because it's really, really warm on the interior here. You've got this high loft Berber fleece that is really nice and comfortable. Really, really liked this piece, particularly for those type of hunts, and just used it a lot of times as a jacket and sometimes as a layering piece underneath a puffy or a jacket of that sort. So works in a lot of ways that way. It is DWR treated, like I mentioned, so it'll do a little bit with the rain, so that part is nice also. Just got your one chest pocket there. It's a smaller one, but it is there for you. So it is heavier, 27.1 ounces, so keep that in mind. So depending on what style and type of hunting you're going to do, definitely check that out. But really awesome piece. It's a lot more durable than your puffy, so that's something to consider depending on, again, what you're looking for in a heavyweight to outer layer type of a piece. So that's the Sitka layering system lineup here, everywhere from that super lightweight Ascent up to heavyweight Traverse cold weather hoodie, everything in between here. Pretty much you're going to be able to find something to cover just about every scenario within this lineup here as far as your base and midweight, heavyweight type of a layers. There's some fantastic layers. I really have enjoyed testing these over the last couple of years, and just, you know, there's something here for every style of hunting that you want to do in the big game collection here. Of course, they've got their whole whitetail collection, so if that's your style of hunting, then that's a different discussion, but this is more your western big game style of hunting and that lineup here. So go check any of these out. Again, I'll put links to all of them down in the description for you so you can check them out for yourself. Drop any questions or comments in the comment section there. Definitely would love to help you get set so that as you're putting your kit together, you can get set with the right pieces for your style of hunting. Thanks for joining us here today. We'll see you next time.